Hello, my name is Marilyn Griffin, and I'm going to tell you how Nightline started 50 years ago. In 1970, I was sharing a student flat at Essex University with Margaret Barwick, known as Maggie. Imagine it is winter 1970 at Essex University in a ground floor flat of a 14-storey black granite block, ludicrously named William Morris Tower. A bleak, cold wind is sweeping round the 4 tower blocks, which lead down to the bare white concrete squares. Inhuman architecture. An architect's Italian-inspired dream transplanted to a windy eastern corner of England. An architect's dream, a student's nightmare. There are 2,000 students at the university, many living on site, cut off from the local town of Colchester after the last bus. Few students have cars. The university is still a construction site. Facilities at the university, the library, restaurant, shop, bar, television room and social events close by 10 or 11 at the latest. At night, campus security guards are the only human contact in an emergency. The tower blocks have internal phones and payphones. Mobile phones only exist in Star Trek. Personal computers are not even a dream. We still write letters and postcards or make short, expensive phone calls to family and friends. Music is live or on radio or cassettes. People exchange mixtapes like a personal playlist. So, it is late at night. In the ground floor flat of William Morris Tower, 3 students are chatting. Myself, Maggie Barwick, and Felicity Mesger, called Flick. Suddenly we hear the sounds of an ambulance arriving, followed by a police siren. The siren makes us think. At night, if there is a personal crisis, depression, a bad trip from LSD or other drugs, there is no friendly person available to contact. The basic idea of Nightline came from that discussion. Students supporting students. A confidential, non-judgmental service using the internal telephone system. The following day, Maggie and Flick went to see the university chaplain, the Reverend Malcolm France, and then he called a meeting to discuss the idea with other interested students. Professor Geoffrey Hoskins, a local Samaritan volunteer, became involved, and training on the Samaritans model was set up. Chad Vara, the founder of the Samaritans, visited and encouraged us. Let me tell you a little about Maggie Barwick. Maggie was a mature student and a polio survivor, getting about the campus with calipers, leg braces, and a wheelchair, old style. Electric wheelchairs did not exist. Maggie had spent her childhood in and out of hospitals. She was a force of nature. Maggie could not be a Nightline volunteer because of her health and mobility issues. However, I believe it was her enthusiasm and determination that moved the discussion that night towards the reality of Nightline. I became a Nightline volunteer, spending a few nights a month at the old site office, a prefab near Wivenhoe House. There were always 2 volunteers on duty. It was very basic. Later, I visited Imperial College London to discuss setting up Nightline there, and it became the second Nightline. I also went to a conference at Leiden University in the Netherlands with Dutch and Italian students who were starting similar helplines in their universities. I graduated in 1972, went abroad and lost touch with Nightline. Maggie went to work for the NHS as a social welfare officer. From the beginning, Nightline was for students by students. However, students move on with their lives. Thankfully, the Reverend Malcolm France and Professor Geoffrey Hoskins provided the backbone and supported Nightline volunteers and sustained the organisation as it grew into the Nightline Association.